Hello folks, this is Arvin. Welcome to my studio, and today I'm going to discuss ways to help you set up macro photography and shoot it first, and also at the same time then the effect to get everything tack sharp from front to back. Now depth of field in macro is pretty critical, and it's also very shallow. So with that, let's begin. I've taken a picture of this fly, and I'm going to describe how I did it and what I did. So this fly, I found it lying on the floor dead, picked it up on an envelope, took it outside, and the sun basically is coming down, direct sun is coming down from left to right, and you can see the shadows on your right hand side. And so what I've done is initially set up my macro on a tripod and exposed it. As you can see right on top, it's 100 of a second shutter speed, f8, and ISO 200. It's on 100 millimeters. It's a 2.8 macro Canon IS USM lens, and I have a Canon 5D Mark IV. So with the Mark IV, I could also use, or which I did in fact, is the live view, and I was clicking on it. Now on this system, I would highly recommend using a remote control, or there's a built-in 2-second timer. But in my case, I didn't use that. I was trying to experiment on something, and I was trying to create a certain effect. So with that said, let's show you what I'm talking about. Macro photography is very difficult, and a lot of people get frustrated. In my case, I did also get frustrated, but at the same time, I found that there are ways to actually overcome the frustration by applying certain technique, and it's a tedious task. I wanted to get exactly what others were doing, and with that I wanted to get pretty good results. So what I want to explain about stacking is the same way you would do is a layers of a book with pages in it, and each page is a slice. That slice is a picture that I've taken. So from the front of the book to the end of the book, I have taken a picture in series. And you notice on the bottom here all the different pictures I have taken. So starting from this black unit, or the black frame, I have then gone from taking this first picture to the front, or actually it's from the back. You can see here, and it's focusing from the back area. It's slightly out of focus, but that's how I started it. I think you can see a little bit of on the edge areas it is in focus, but as you will see as we go, actually why don't I zoom in and you'll probably understand how this is working. So let's just put it there, watch, and the picture will start jumping a little bit, but I'll explain that a little later also. But if you notice, the picture is getting sharper and sharper in certain areas, but the sharpness is coming forward. It went from here, now it's coming to the front here, and that's what I was trying to explain. And as we go through each of these pictures, you will then see even this little lint on the fly is getting sharper and out of focus depending on which point I was shooting. Now, one of the things that I want to explain about shooting macro is on your lens. I initially focused to the far end, a little bit out of focus. So you got to put everything in manual, and it has to be on manual, including my mode was in manual shooting wise. Also, my lens was in manual focus, and also I switched off the autofocus. I just mentioned that, but at the same time there's a system that I'm talking about, the shaking part of it. I'm losing it, I apologize here. The lens has a mode where it basically a stabilizing part of it, sorry. So there you go, I apologize. I just thought about something, I was multitasking here as well, so my apologies. So having that set up, I also switched that off because the stabilizer has a little motor in it, and the motor creates a little bit of a vibration. That vibration basically will bring a shake on any of your pictures as it tries to track it. So I switched all those things off. And then what I did was, if you look at your lens barrel, and on the barrel there's a rubber mount. The rubber mount has a little bit of ridges in it. Each ridge, from one ridge to another, and you need to see there's a segment, there's a little indicator on your lens with a white marking. That's where it starts. So put it out of focus, and then slowly, incrementally bring it to each ridge. Now, in the later pictures, I will show you that you want to actually take it from the top, a ridge, to the valley, and to the ridge again. In my case, I took it from a ridge to ridge rather than the valley, because I missed the in-between of a layer. So you will see it in this case as well. So with that said, I measured all the exposure and everything, so I don't have to actually develop any part of this. I don't want to play with it. I'm going to take it straight into Photoshop and stack it. So with that said, I've got the first one marked here, and then what I'm going to do is go and click on the last one and double check it. The last one is actually the final print. So there's one before that. No. Okay. So this is the last picture. And wait a minute. Just want to make sure. Nope. That is actually the final print too. So I need to find. There we go. Nope. PSD files. Quite a few of them. JPEG. PSD. What just happened here? That's all my JPEGs. There's my JPEG. Okay, so from here to here, hit Shift, and we'll select all those pictures. And what you want to do is now open them in Photoshop. And when you open them in Photoshop, you want to actually go to open in layers. So what you're telling Photoshop to open all those pictures in one segment with each picture as a layer. Make sense? So now it's gonna bring up Photoshop for me. And while we're waiting, just want to give you a heads up. So Photoshop, depending on your computer, what it's going to do, it's load, and depending on the speed and everything, the slower your system is, the slower it's going to take. Mine's pretty fast. It's got pretty well system set up. So I got one of the fastest systems possible right now. I know I can push it up to more. I've got 32 gigs of RAM, and I got multiple terabytes of hard drives, and my graphic processing unit is an NVIDIA, which is one of the latest one. According to my technical support, he's saying I'm a little short because the newer one's out already right now, so we could upgrade, because I've got a PC here and it's actually a desktop. So the desktop I can always pull the graphics card out and replace it with a new one. So it's something to think about. I don't want to do that right now. That's just, extra cost, but right now it's doing its job and I'm very happy with it. So maybe a little down the line I'll think about moving it up. If you have any questions that relating to my systems and everything else, you're welcome to actually click at the bottom and leave me a message, and I'll be happy to follow up with you folks. This video is going to go online within a short period of time, and I'll be more than happy to work with people who need help. Now, it's all loaded all of them up. I just want to actually enlarge it so I can get everything set up. I've selected all the pictures from top to bottom as all the layers as you see it. And what it's going to do is Photoshop is going to take each picture, it's going to analyze it and find the sharpest item on it. And it's only going to take that particular part of the sharpness of the picture and it's going to put it together. So this is the whole game plan behind it. So going to edit, you're going to take, first of all, I want to do is auto align these photographs. So like I showed you before, it shifts. It shifted. I wasn't very careful with it because I was trying something out. So right now I wanted to align it, and you'll see in a bit once it starts aligning it. And these are large files. My files total, each one of those files, from what I remember, is showing at the bottom at about 1.2 gigs. Actually, the raw files were even bigger. These JPEGs are a little smaller. So with that said, I'm giving you the second part of it. These are not raw files I'm just working with JPEGs, and which are also large files. So once this has rendered, there's one more step that we're going to go to, and we're going to complete that. And then, so now it's aligned everything. If you notice, it's jumped. Now look carefully on the edges. It hasn't actually completed each one of them. I can do it another way by auto blending layers, and don't worry, it's still slightly out of focus, but it's going to get everything done. It's going to put it into another layer, and once that layer, it's going to sandwich all these pictures and their information. The data is going to be collected together and put it into one file, or one layer actually. So with that said, watch and see what happens. It will actually put a layer above all of this. The entire picture will be compiled into one layer, and then that layer can be then used any way you want. And I will do is, I'm not going to take it back into Lightroom because I've already got one there right now. In this case, I'll just cancel everything out once I'm done with this. But this is the format I want to show you how stacking is done. Now Capture One and all the other different software that's available out there will also do the similar thing, but Capture One is for the large medium format cameras. I would prefer to use that later on when it comes to stacking. And there is another process about stacking. Mine, there was no rails used. It was just basically using the barrel of the lens to basically focus back and forth, and that's what I applied. Now there are other versions of it. At this point, I'm not going to talk about it too much in depth because it doesn't relate to what I've done for you right now to show you how I've done this. This is a cheaper way of doing it. I mean, money-wise, if you're constrained about that, and you can do this on a budget. I've taken only the lens, tripod, camera, and the subject matter. I have a light meter that I use to check how much light I need on this particular subject and what my settings I need to have on my camera, and that's what I achieved by using the light meter. Now watch, it's thinking a little bit right now. It's building the whole layer, and it's built that layer for you. Yeah, so this layer is now tagged sharp, and if you notice, there's your layer right on top. If I take it away, it will then show up the other layers. But this is the layer that I need, and the other ones are not. And if you look at in this mask, it's picked up all the different items in white. You'll see the sharpness in the pictures from each layer. Make sense? So that's what's happened. Now normally you can do is save it as. Normally if you do save, it will actually dump this layer into Lightroom, and Lightroom is where now you can start playing around with it. And here is one of the pictures. PSD came in, and if you notice, it's pretty sharp. Yeah. So if you use Option and slowly scroll your, actually not Option, was it Option? Sorry, Control or on mine, or Command on your Mac, depending on what you use. You can actually scroll back and forth on the focus point of it, and you can see there's a little bit of dirt on it. There's some dirt here on the fly. Here's the wings, and then this one I completed in Photoshop because I did a little bit of cloning. And if you look carefully, there was something here as well. So let me get back to Photoshop. See that? There's your problem. This part, I actually cloned it into Photoshop. One thing I cloned it, I did more was this apply, what do you call it, healing brush. So I completed with the healing brush, and then I finished the picture. So there's a few other items. Here's the cloth or the lint that was on it that I had removed by using the healing brush. And if I go back into sharpening the picture, there's your print. There's still a few smaller stuff that I didn't apply, but that's it. There's your picture. You can frame it, you can do whatever you want, and basically this is how you stack your prints in layers and bring it out from Photoshop. So if you have any other questions, give me a buzz or on the comment section, and I'll take it from there. Folks, have a nice day.